What's up, guys? Hi, welcome to today's strength training session. I'm really happy I did this. Now I've done Monday and Tuesday, and I will take tomorrow off from strength training. Probably will do some manual labor in the forest, but not strength training, just endurance type working with the brush cutter. It only weighs like 10 kilos, but I have heavy boots and I'm working in really uneven terrain, wrestling down shrubs and trees. For a few hours every day pretty much throughout the week. Didn't do it yesterday. Probably will do like 1.5, 2 hours of work today after this training session. Although work starts 8 tomorrow, so I can't really go too far because I'll just burn myself out. When you sleep poorly, you just destroy your next day and maybe even 2 days in the future. So as I said to you guys yesterday, my best advice is just, if you have too much to do, just sleep. I completely disagree with all this entrepreneurship stuff that you need to sleep like 3 hours a night, 6 hours a night, 5 hours a night, whatever, to get stuff done. I think that works for like 2 days. I don't think that works long term. I mean, you should probably look into working smarter. If you can't get enough sleep to like be aware as a person, I think, entrepreneurship on 5 hours of sleep, probably not the best idea. Imagine you're talking to a client and you just say something that you're not supposed to say, or you forget, an important deadline or something. Like, yeah, get your sleep, guys. That's my advice. But I do think you should be taking advice from more successful people than me. And that's something I've been really tired of. I've been too much on social media now for a few weeks, and I just noticed that I get bombarded with so much advice. It's actually really tiring because a lot of people are just saying stuff without any form of knowledge, any form of experience even. They're just throwing shit out there, hoping it will stick, hoping they'll get views and likes. So you can find any information you want pretty much, even information which is conflicting, as I said. So don't want to give you guys too much advice that I'm not completely sure on one hand. On the other hand, just like many others think, if I don't do this bad thing, others will do it even worse. If I don't give you guys mediocre advice, someone else is going to give you terrible advice. So on that note, I will say just make sure you get your sleep. In my life, I just perform really fucking poorly when I don't sleep enough. And for me, I pretty much need 8 hours and I thrive off 9 hours. So, that's where I'm at when it comes to the sleep. And that's just the reality. The fact is, even if you sleep 9 hours, if you're pretty efficient with your day, you're going to get, how many hours is that? 15 or more hours in a day. A lot of those hours just automatically will go to some form of time wasting. But you probably have like 10 to 12 hours of work / training / improvement time in a day, realistically. So, obviously, well, to me, it's obvious that energy is the limiting factor, not time. When we look at, where we're at in life, improvements and so on, I would definitely say that for me, lack of energy is a much bigger issue than a lack of time. Absolutely. I mean, because if I had more energy, I wouldn't need as much time to finish the stuff I want to finish. I would just be able to go home from work, immediately start training, immediately go into the manual labor in the forest. I don't know what else to call it, but go into the pre-commercial thinning. That doesn't say much to someone not interested in forestry. But, it's a significantly physically demanding job, which I do after my desk job, my day job, which I'm doing here during the summer. So, I have like 3 things. I have this working out, I have the forestry work, and then I have my job as well. So I'm trying to maintain a pretty strict, a pretty high octane, a pretty brutal routine, because I know that when that summer finishes, I'm gonna have a body of work which I've completed. Not only have I made the money for my job, but I've also improved the status of our family's land, making sure that the future forest is gonna have the same form of quality and growth and vigor that the old forest has, you know. So just putting the investment in there, putting the investment into my body as well, getting stronger, and then making the money. So trying to do all three there. Not the highest value tasks. I'm not getting really big rewards right now, but it's just kind of stuff that needs to be done, needs to get done. And I just have this feeling that when I'm in this really tough grinding routine, I just get a strong sense that this is going to pay off when I'm in it. At least like in between the hard things I do during the day, you know, I just feel like this has to pay off. It's got to pay off somehow. And I'm pretty sure how it's going to pay off. I don't want to tell you guys too much, but, you know, I have a plan with everything I'm doing, of course. But this is also a very big personal development arc that I'm on. And a big thing when it comes to the pre-commercial thinning that I'm doing is the more I do now during the summer, the less I will have to do during the school year, which means I will be able to have more free time during my final year of school. Something that, you know, I will either be able to put towards maintaining this physicality, improving it, you know, things like that, getting my schoolwork in check, or I can just siphon off a few hours a day to focus on another project, which I will be able to do at that point since I finished the pre-commercial thinning project in the forest. So, you know, I have a fly flying around here. It's the middle of the summer. Hottest day of the year is probably going to be tomorrow or the day after that. We're going to have 30 degrees here, which we haven't had where I live since we moved to Sweden in 2014. So in the specific place where we live, we haven't had 30 degrees a single day. You know, we've had it in town, 10 kilometers away and so on, but we've never had 30 degrees in the shade where we're at. So it's going to be the hottest day probably since we moved to Sweden in a few days. So yeah, flies are flying around indoors. Anyway, I'm satisfied with what I'm doing. I think it's going to yield a result. And the work I'm putting in now, you know, is very, very important towards the future, because I'm going to have so little time and so little energy in the future. I'm going to have so many projects running. Probably the next couple of years are going to be really tough. So every chance I get to, you know, do some forestry work so that I have less to do later when I don't have the energy, and every chance I get to get physically stronger is a very good chance to take, because I might not be able to improve much later on because, you know, my priorities will probably change. So, you know, putting in the work now, in case I can't do it later, I think it's a very, very worthy use of my time. You know, otherwise I would be relaxing a bit more this summer. But I just genuinely feel like I would rather work a bit harder now and relax later. I'd rather do that, and I probably won't relax later, at least not these next couple of years. But you never know. Maybe if I do work hard enough now, I will actually legitimately be able to relax later. Or in a best case scenario, I won't even need to relax because I'll be in such a positive momentum that my entire nervous system, my brain and my body are in such a winning mode that I barely need to rest. This is something that has happened to me multiple times before. Usually it's when my training is going extremely well, or something else in life is going really well. I mean, you just feel like continuing. You don't want to stop at all because you're winning. And that's kind of where I want to get with my training, and, you know, with my personal finances and all this other stuff and with the schoolwork, get into a mode where winning is the standard, you know, where you're not just fighting to get through everything, but we're actually demolishing our goals. When you get to that point, you're not going to want to stop, you're not going to want to rest. So if I work hard now, I might be able to work harder later. And what's the ultimate goal of all this working hard? Well, to improve my status, of course, improve my status among other people and to myself, so that I'm able to live a much better life and even build life for other people outside of myself in the future. Although right now the main thing is improving my life. And, you know, I know that I have maybe not the best potential in the world, but I do have significant potential. I'm definitely going to work hard to achieve a significant proportion of my full potential. Right now, I'm pretty far from my full potential. And over time, you know, there's one thing to say, like, what would my potential be here at 22 today? If I would have lived my entire life a bit differently, been more locked in, that's one thing. But where's my ultimate potential when I'm 55 or 60 or 65 or wherever I reach some form of peak in life, in maybe many decades to come, my ultimate peak of who I am as a person and my ultimate achievement, whatever that will be, my potential is also that version of me very far in the future, if that makes sense. So the work I'm doing now, even though it's just a rep here and there, even if it's, you know, I did this workout instead of skipping it, even if it's, I finned pre-commercially 0.1 hectares today. You know, I only worked 1.5 hours. It was really rocky, and I hit a rock with my saw, and I had to resharpen it and then go after it again, and I was sweaty, and you know, I got destroyed by flies or whatever. Every little achievement right now, finning 0.1 hectares worth of young forest isn't going to change my life at all right now. But in the future, this is forming kind of the future version of me, which doesn't quit and who's dedicated. And, you know, I learn things and I gain confidence from working this hard. So I'm just going to try to maintain this momentum. And right now, it's not really momentum. I feel little bit like I'm pushing a boulder up a hill. Don't know what the original Greek character is who did that in the mythology. But you know that picture of a guy pushing a boulder up a hill. I'm feeling a bit like that right now. But yeah, fuck it, guys. Like, seriously, I'm going to be so much better off if I just keep doing this shit and don't give up. Like, if I do 5, 6, 7, however many weeks are left of my summer break, maybe it's only like 6 weeks, I don't know. But if I do those 6 weeks of hard work, I can't even... Like, I will definitely be very, very satisfied once school comes back, and I've finished the thinning, the pre-commercial thinning. I've finished that off, maybe even benched 120 or more kilos, and, you know, made some money. Getting back to school is going to feel a lot better. You know, I keep working on my to-do list, and I'm doing different things during the school year than during the summer. But right now, during the summer, I have a few things to do. You know, not much more, except for the things, you know, I listed. You know, I have a few more things, but those are the main 3 things. Keep working on the forest, our land, keep working on the gym, keep working at my job. So if I do these 3 things well, if I learn a lot, if I make sure to keep going, I feel like it will pay off some way that I don't really foresee yet. Because the effort I'm putting in these weeks is very significant, and I can't imagine it doesn't give some form of positive result in my life. So I'm just going to keep fucking going, guys. And I don't know what the time is right now, but I'm going to go to the forest. In a few minutes, I'm going to leave this place, go to the forest and figure it out from there. You know, it's going to be a late-ish evening, not super late, but I'm going to make sure to go to bed somewhat on time. And I will see you guys in 2 days. Guys, I can definitely say it right now. I'm locked in. Let's fucking go.